first. I'd like to start by thanking DJ and the committee for inviting me to the meeting today. And I'm really happy to be here among people who've spent so much time and so much effort dedicated to trying to build a more peaceful world than we have. What I think we are trying to do is really, it's a paradigm shift in the culture and the ideology of violence. And that paradigm shift is not an easy thing, because if it was easy, we would have succeeded over the last 40, 50 years, when all the various peace movements have worked so hard. But we have had some successes. I mean, even today, and I know Jeremy didn't say there's that much of a success, but we've seen today President Obama and the Russian delegate, agreeing a significant reduction in nuclear arms. And who's responsible for that? You are. That is our contribution, because it wouldn't be there unless we were pushing them. And so I want to be optimistic rather than pessimistic about the work people in various peace movements and organisations have done for so long over the last few decades. I don't think the work is appreciated by the new generation of young people, but that's probably a different question. Why we can't attract, and I'm talking about Irish peace movements as well, attract a new generation of young people. Maybe something else will happen, and they will come on board. I was just talking to a young delegate here, and that is a question that we may have to come back to. The title that I was looking at, the VJ gave me, was Peace Building in an Unstable World. So I wrote a paper, and the paper is quite long, so I got carried away, and VJ has the paper in his computer system somewhere. If anybody wants to look at the details of it, they can. Just one of the, on a positive note, maybe not, I just read a book from a professor in Cambridge, Professor Hensley, who wrote Power, the Pursuit of Peace. And his argument was, we are living today in a world of unprecedented peace and stability. And you'd say, oh, where is he getting that argument from? And his argument was, relationships between men and men, between men and women, between adults and children, between employers and employees, between countries, between social groups, even allowing for some of what we see in papers, those relationships are much more peaceful historically today than they've ever been. That's his argument. And I said, oh yeah, I mean, possibly we shouldn't be too negative into peace movements. There is an awful lot of it wrong with the world we live in today, but we are pushing in the right direction. We are, hopefully, in the 21st century, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We haven't possibly been to the top of the hill yet. My approach today was to identify this year, 2010, with a number of significant milestones which have contributed or will contribute to the paradigm shift in peace. In the area of the study of peace, which is sort of my background, 2010 can be seen as the 50th anniversary of the foundation of the peace research movement. That is the academic and scientific approach to the study of peace. So peace research is defined as the scientific, initially defined as a scientific study of conflict in its broadest sense. This is, I think, is a very important development, because, of course, science is a very powerful tool, but if our analysis of conflict and the fundamental causes of conflict, if those analyses are wrong, which they possibly have been for thousands of years, then any solutions that we try and put forward based on those analyses will be faulty by implication. So the contribution that's coming from the peace research agenda and the work that's been done there, I think, will have, in the long term, a very significant positive contribution. Peace research has moved on in the last 50 years, and we now redefine peace research as the scientific approach to the possibilities and the practicalities of building peace in an unstable world. The year 2010 is also the 60th anniversary of the proposal put forward by Robert Schuman for a European coal and steel community. This was the foundation stone for the European Union, which is seen by some as the greatest example of peace building in an unstable world. Not made of it. And the year 2010, this year, is also the 100th anniversary of the death of the great Russian novelist and pacifist Leo Tolstoy. And I just wanted to refer briefly to Tolstoy's diagnosis and his prognosis on the question of peace, and just relate to the debate today, because Tolstoy himself believed that he'd rediscovered the foundation stone for a peaceful future, for the principles for a peaceful future. Whether he has or not, I think his contribution hasn't been fully appreciated yet. The last date I want to mention is the year 2030. That was the year that was originally predicted that the first human landing on Mars would take place. For reasons that are directly related to the war industry, that's not going to happen in 2030 or for quite a long time. One of the best forecasts I heard was of an Irish astronomer who said his vision of that the first man to land on Mars would be a woman. I thought that was very good. Just what I wanted to identify is two or three issues. One is President Obama's speech at the Nobel Peace Prize early 2009, and one or two, some of the issues that arise from that speech. In the last few hundred years, we've made the most astonishing and unexpected discoveries in relation to the natural forces that have shaped the world in which we live. The problem is that most, if not all, the historical knowledge that has been passed down to us through previous generations concerning the natural world has proven to be either mistaken or to be false. In almost every area of human knowledge, from understanding our place in the cosmos to understanding our own health issues, progress has only come about when what has passed for traditional knowledge has been rejected. The only exception to this experience would seem to be in the science of human understanding, both in the area of human social understanding and human spiritual understanding. If this conundrum is a reasonably accurate reflection of reality, then it has some positive but some negative aspects for building peace in an unstable world. To bring this conundrum up to date, I want to look at the President Obama's speech on his acceptance of the Nobel Peace Prize 2009. On one level, the speech should be seen as very significant from the perspective of the culture of peace. But at another, we are back to the historical problems. I'm not trying to underestimate the value of Obama's speech. It should be seen as an amazingly positive development when a serving American president can say the following. I'm just going to quote him. As someone who stands here as a direct consequence of Dr. King's life work, I'm living testimony to the moral force of non-violence. But this is the American president who has his button on 5,000 nuclear weapons. I'm living testimony to the moral force of non-violence. I know there is nothing weak, nothing passive, nothing naive in the creeds and lives of Gandhi and King. When I read that, I was really enlightened. But if you only read so far in the speech, you would think there would have to be a major cultural or paradigm shift in our understanding of violence and security. But then it comes immediately to what I call the big conundrum or the big but. President Obama immediately qualifies what he's just said. And in fact, he invalidates his own analysis by using two of the most traditional concepts or traditional examples for justifying and rationalising the use of force and violence. And then he goes on to quote him again, a non-violent movement could not have halted Hitler's armies. Can we in the peace movement, argue with that sort of, can we change history? And to quote him again, negotiations cannot convince Al-Qaeda's leaders to lay down their arms. And this is the problem or the conundrum in some of the analysis. It's what I call the big conundrum. And it's another quote I just want to use, and it's we, whoever that is, there's a blank. That's we here have learned to our cost that you, and there's a blank there, whoever your favourite enemy is, will not listen to anything but force. So that's backing up Obama's second part of his speech. We